University Police Track Security, how can I help you?
Hi, I would like to request some help from my daughter, who's a student at University of Utah, and she started dating this guy there who's like a bad person.
Okay.
And she found out he's a bad person, and she broke up with him, and he has her car. Yes, he was lying to her,
Okay.
and he's actually a sexual offender. I don't want her to go there by herself and have like something bad happen to her.
This frightening call was made by Jill McCluskey, a mother deeply concerned about her daughter. What she didn't know was the lengths the man she was concerned about would go to keep her daughter. We would like to send our condolences to the family and loved ones of Lauren McCluskey. Lauren McCluskey was a natural-born athlete, participating in athletics at a young age. She excelled in many different sports, winning medals and academic awards for her efforts. The University of Utah would extend an invite to the talented athlete to come and study there. Lauren would compete in events such as the heptathlon, which combines many track and field events into one grueling competition. She began to be noticed as one of the most gifted athletes on campus at the Utah University. With a large group of friends, life couldn't be better for Lauren. On one September evening, Lauren would be invited by her friends out for a drink at a club near the university. The good-looking Lauren would capture the attention of a man who would introduce himself as Sean Fields. He would explain that he worked at the club as a bouncer. Sean would also tell Lauren that he studied at the nearby Salt Lake Community College and that he was 28 years old. Although he was 7 years older, they exchanged numbers. Eventually, a relationship would blossom, and Lauren would introduce Sean to all her friends and family. She was smitten with her new man. However, it wouldn't be long before her friends would begin to notice some red flags. Sean would tell Lauren what to wear when she would go out, such as a t-shirt and jeans. Whenever Lauren would be out with her friends, he would constantly ring her, ask her where she was and what she was doing. If she didn't answer straight away, there would be a barrage of phone calls and text messages. He also seemed overly concerned about her safety, purchasing some pepper spray to carry around, saying she had to be careful. One day, he would invite her to a shooting range to practice shooting, and said that she should purchase a handgun, but she declined. Lauren's friends noticed that she now spent all her time with Sean, and would often decline their offers to catch up. She was occasionally missing track practice as well, which was very out of character for the gifted athlete. After Sean had stayed over at Lauren's dorm for the night, he would ask to borrow her car the following morning. She agreed, and he would head off to run some errands. Lauren would notice he had left his bag which had his ID sitting on top. She would pick it up and notice the man she had been seeing was not who he claimed he was. The ID would show that the 27-year-old Sean Fields was actually Melvin Sean Rowland, who was 37 years old, almost twice Lauren's age. The natural charmer had a knack for picking up women and making it appear that he was younger than he was. Lauren had unfortunately fallen for his web of lies. As autumn break came around, Lauren would travel back to her home state of Washington to stay with her parents. While over there, she would chat with a close friend and tell her of what she had discovered. They would decide to do a background check on Melvin, and to their horror, they would discover he was a convicted felon. Melvin Sean Rowland was a sex offender. In 2004, he was charged with enticing a minor, a second-degree felony. He was also charged with attempted forcible sexual abuse, a third-degree felony. He had served 9 years in a state penitentiary and had been released on parole in 2013. Lauren decided that she had to leave the relationship when she returned to Utah. The day she returned, Melvin would show up at her dorm room. She confronted him about the ID, and he apologized for giving a fake name. Explaining the situation, he claimed a girl at a frat party had claimed that she was much older than she was. He would deny that he did anything wrong, and that he was mistakenly convicted. Melvin would ask to borrow Lauren's car again, and she would agree. While he was out, she rang her friends to ask their opinion, who didn't believe his story and advised her to break it off. Lauren would also call her mother Jill and explain the situation. She was to meet with Melvin to pick up her car that afternoon, but Jill was worried about her daughter's safety. Jill McCluskey would contact university security asking for assistance.
University Police Security, how can I help you?
Hi, I would like to request some help from my daughter, who's a student at University of Utah, and she started dating this guy there who's like a bad person.
Okay.
And she found out he's a bad person, and she broke up with him, and he has her car. If he was lying to her,
Okay.
and he's actually a sexual offender, I don't want her to go there by herself and have like something bad happen to her.
Later that afternoon, Lauren would make the exchange of the car without incident. The following 2 days, she had heard nothing from Melvin and could finally start putting that chapter behind her. But that's when she started receiving some bizarre text messages. Some of the messages claimed that Melvin was in the hospital, and others had claimed that he had died and asking if she wanted to attend his funeral. Lauren would call the police and relay her fears.
I've been getting these texts from these numbers of different people. They were saying that he was in the hospital and then saying that that he passed away. But then I got a text from him and he seems to be alive. I got a text about, asking if I wanted to go to his funeral. And I think they're trying to lure me somewhere.
Okay, and have you asked them to stop texting you?
I have not, but I've blocked a few of the numbers already.
All right. I will send this through an officer to give you a call. Is that okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
University police would never contact her back. The following day, Melvin would send a message saying he was okay and something weird was happening. She ignored the message, but it was then followed up with texts from different numbers saying they had explicit images of Lauren and Melvin. They claimed that if she didn't pay $1,000, that they would release the images. To prove they had the material, they would email Lauren one of the pictures. Melvin would message Lauren claiming they were blackmailing him as well and advised her to pay the money. Reluctantly, she would send the money through Venmo in order to try and protect herself and her reputation on campus. She would contact campus police once again, feeling like Melvin was the one behind blackmailing her. Lauren and a concerned friend would go in person to make another complaint. She would explain the situation to campus officer Miguel Darris and advised him that Melvin was a registered sex offender. Miguel would assure her that the blackmail attempt was likely a scam and she was in no danger whatsoever. The two girls left, assuming that the police would follow up on her complaint as she had provided the text messages and one of the explicit images that was sent to her. However, Miguel Darris would add that explicit image to his own private collection, telling other officers he could look at it anytime he wanted and would take no further action. Days had passed by again with no further news from campus police. Frustrated, Lauren rang dispatchers again.
I've been blackmailed for money.
Let me go ahead and get you over. University Police will probably take the case then. Just one sec.
I've talked to them already, but
Okay.
I just wanted to call you as well.
Usually we just take it where you live, and then that agency does a case.
Yeah, I was just concerned because I wasn't sure how long they were going to take.
Okay, let me get you up to them so they can see what's going on with it. Just one moment.
Do you know when an arrest would be made?
You can talk to an officer if you want. I can arrange that if you want that.
Okay.
The following day, Melvin is observed on university campus dressed as Deadpool, including having two swords on his back. He loiters around the entrance to Lauren's dorm, carrying a small black bag in his left hand. By complete chance, Lauren happens to return just as Melvin had walked off for a brief period, and he missed her by 1 minute. We would later learn what exactly was in that black bag, and can only imagine what would have happened if he had seen her. Lauren opens up her email and finds an email from Melvin stating he knows that she contacted police. Her mind begins to wonder, how could he possibly notice? Did someone in the police force tip him off? Little did she know that weeks earlier, she had logged into her email on Melvin's phone, and he had saved her login information and had full access to her email. He was secretly reading all the correspondence between herself and the police, along with emails to her family. Fearing the worst, she would contact the Salt Lake City Police Department, seeking some advice.
I'm worried because I've been working with the campus police at the U. And last Saturday I reported, and I haven't gotten an update.
Okay.
But someone contacted me today, someone who was harassed, and said that they know everything about the police.
Okay. So you already spoke to the campus police?
Yes, and they haven't updated or done anything.
And what prompted you to call Salt Lake City Police?
Well, I thought it was weird that there are people who know about the entire case, and the harassers seem to know about it more than me. And I'm concerned there might be an insider who's letting them know about the case.
Okay. So with something...
Because I haven't gotten updates.
Yeah.
And it's been a week.
Okay. With something like that, you would want to contact the campus police back and ask to speak to your detective.
The reason the police were not offering help was because they have no jurisdiction on the university campus. University police handle all campus matters, and metropolitan police generally stay out of their business. However, because of the claims made by Lauren about a possible insider, action should have been taken. She would again email the department seeking answers and fearing for her safety. And again, she would receive no reply. Lauren continued calling for several days, but was told that the person handling her case would get back to her. Sadly, that call would never come. On October 22nd, a CCTV camera would capture Melvin leaving his apartment at 6 a.m. He enters a silver Buick he had borrowed from a neighbor and travels to the university. He parks the vehicle outside of Lauren's dorm and heads to the door. Unable to enter the building, he would wander off. Lauren, in the meantime, receives a message from Deputy Chief McLennan from campus police asking her to view some evidence in the case. However, oddly, it tells her not to ring him back because he will be in a meeting. She is suspicious and decided to ignore the message. She leaves her dorm at around 9 a.m., heading to a meeting with a counselor she had booked previously to help with the difficult situation she was going through. Melvin is again captured on surveillance footage, carrying the same black bag he had previously. He convinced some other students that he had forgot his door pass, and he let him into the building. Oddly, he asked one of the students if they wanted to see what was in his bag, and when he agrees, he produces a .40 caliber Beretta handgun with a full magazine and one round in the chamber. Meanwhile, Lauren had left her counselor's appointment and went to a Saturday class. As she finished up and headed back to her dorm, she would call her parents to fill them in on how the case was going and how life was going in general. During the phone call, Lauren's mother would hear her daughter shout, "No, no, no," and then the phone would go silent. Her father, Matt McCluskey, would immediately call campus police and make them aware of what happened.
Hi, my daughter, Lauren McCluskey, was talking to her mom, and then she just started saying, no, 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 and it sounded like someone might have been grabbing her or something.
All units, attempt to locate a suspect involved in possible kidnapping. The victim is Lauren McCluskey. Her mother heard her yell, "No, no," on the phone. Then the line went quiet.
All right, and you said she was walking to her car from what building?
From the EC, which is
Gardner Commons.
Oh, someone's talking on her phone. Hello?
A student would find the abandoned phone, with the call still active, and begin talking to Lauren's father. She would then contact university police and explain the situation.
Hi, I have a backpack and I need a phone.
Okay. Could you just stay there? I think she was mugged.
I'm trying to get a good location. All right, where is that backpack out? Can you get a location for me? University police.
Hi, I just found a whole bunch of stuff spread out all over the ground and a phone that had an active call. I picked it up.
Okay.
This woman says...
Yes, I was just on the phone with her parents.
Okay.
I'm having officers responding up that way. I had a ex-boyfriend who was possibly making threats with the southeast of the South Medical Tower in the parking lot. It's looking like this might be kidnapping. Okay, we do have witnesses that heard a couple shots and they found a shell casing.
Melvin had intercepted Lauren on the way back to her dorm. He dragged her over to the silver Buick he had parked earlier and drew his pistol. He would force her into the vehicle and shoot her at point-blank range 7 times. 911 calls would come in from students saying they heard gunshots, and meanwhile, Melvin would slip away. He was observed on CCTV walking to a nearby railway station where he is seen making a phone call. Melvin was actually calling a woman he had organized earlier to go on a date with, and she was meant to be picking him up from that location. She can be seen pulling up. He gets in the car, and they head off to go and have a nice quiet dinner. The university goes into lockdown while they investigate the incident and try to find the perpetrator. Lauren's parents are desperate for information, and they call back for news.
They're getting multiple calls from students wondering what we want students to do. Do we have instructions for them? Yeah, we want them to secure a place, lock down in place.
Hello, this is Matt.
Hi, Matt. This is Val with the University of Utah police. And have you guys heard from her or anything?
No, we have not.
Okay.
We're heading westbound from the North Medical Tower. The city has a group of 6 officers and a canine heading northbound.
I'm calling about my daughter, Lauren McCluskey, that's missing.
We do have officers on scene handling right now. We're actively looking for her. We're doing everything we can to track her down.
Shortly after this phone call, they discovered a silver Buick located in the car park.
In the car. We need an ambulance. In the north parking lot. Silver Buick Lancer. Unit 1, Star Medical.
Police seal off the area and send down an APB on Melvin Sean Rowland. They had no doubts he did it because of the number of reports Lauren had previously lodged about him. Meanwhile, Melvin had finished his date, having a delicious dinner, and was walking down the street in another part of town. Police saw him and pulled him over, but he would run on foot, with the police also chasing after him on foot. He would run to the Trinity AME Church, a 130-year-old establishment, and bust in the door attempting to escape authorities. As police would enter, they would hear a single gunshot. Melvin had decided to take his own life rather than face his consequences. While it closed this chapter of the investigation, it left many questions unanswered. Why was a young lady that continually asked for help ignored by police? Had they done their job and run a background check, they would have found that Melvin was on parole. The threats he made and trying to extort money from Lauren were enough to put him back in jail. Journalists began to dig deep into the story, and after contacting his parole officer, he agreed that he would have been reincarcerated for his actions. Officer Miguel Darras resigned almost immediately from the campus police department. He relocated to Logan Police Department a short distance away. His actions regarding the handling of Lauren's picture were made public. However, when the department learned of what he had done, he was terminated immediately. A case was brought against him, but later dropped due to lack of evidence. To this day, he has not faced any legal consequences for his actions. The question of how Melvin obtained a handgun as a convicted felon would also be asked. Convicted felons are not allowed to purchase firearms. As it turns out, much the same way he had asked Lauren to buy a weapon, a friend of his asked the girl he had dated only for 11 days to purchase him a weapon. This friend, known as Nathan Vogel, would lend Melvin the weapon. Vogel would hand himself into the police station, claiming he had no idea what Melvin planned to do. He would receive a short sentence that the McCluskey family would agree to. Jill and Matt would agree to suspend the sentence of Vogel's girlfriend for 18 months, provided she didn't get into any further trouble with the law. The McCluskey family would ultimately sue the University of Utah and its campus police department for gross negligence. Initially, they were seeking $56 million, but would settle outside of court for $13.5 million. $3.5 million of that would be donated to the newly formed Lauren McCluskey Foundation. This foundation was formed to improve campus safety for all students nationwide. It would also provide funding for amateur athletics and animal welfare. While the tragic events that took place in this case can never be undone, lessons can be learned, so this may never happen again. And that wraps up today's case. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, then check out one of these 2 other videos on screen that you may find interesting. We look forward to bringing you another worst case very soon.